Well met, travelers. It's been a while. And honestly, if it wasn't for Mr. Fab Fighter's comment, I would have forgotten about this video entirely, so thank you. The first jacket being around 350, shipping and customs not included. I forget how much this was exactly, so let's just check the order history. Okay, here it is. It only tells us the total cost and not individual items. So let's just recreate it. Some of the examples look really good actually. This one looks regal. I could see a royal guard in it or something. Oh, hello there. This one looks familiar. Yeah, keep in mind that if you order something nice looking, it will probably end up here. So if you don't want your custom logo to be seen or something, I don't know, maybe tell them beforehand. I am certain that if I asked them to take it down, they would, but it doesn't matter to me. Color of product, it's going to be dual color, so I'll just pick one of them. They will send you an email where you can go much more into depth, if you want to anyway. Fabric, obviously going to be HEMA and 350. If they had 750, I would have taken it, but hey. Two color design, obviously went with quartered. Interesting that it's 20 euros more than the half color option. Fabric for lining, which is going to be the inside. Pretty sure I went with cotton. Padding type, the 20% wool and cotton shred. I'm actually curious what the difference is, since it's only on the inside, since you don't get to see it. At least I assumed, because sometimes you see some of the hairs poking out and those are blue. Would that just not happen with the linen and polyester type? Is that why it's 25 euros? Genuinely curious. If yes, I'd recommend picking that over the free option. 2 layers of padding, the maximum you can get away with without paying more. Compared to the first jacket I reviewed, that's double, and you can feel it. The fact that the closing flap doubles over helps, but really, less layers than this is considered decoration. I wouldn't recommend fighting with it. Once the arms are broken in a bit, they bend just fine. It does make me wonder though about the 4-layer option. How restrictive would that be? Would I look like a Michelin man? I would really like to try one, but I'm not planning on buying another jacket anytime soon, so suppose I'll never know. Second color, these are all free, I went with black. Contrast quilting, I'm pretty sure I went with the 10 euro option. Since the leather and the inside is brown, I picked the same color for the edges. Size large, I'm pretty sure, but they will ask for exact measurements during the email exchange. If you're massive, it will probably cost extra, so keep that in mind. Male or female? This option wasn't there when I ordered. Never really thought about an armor being different for a female, but I suppose there will be extra measurements around the chest area, perhaps. Neck protection, 25 euros for a blade catcher, which I did not take for aesthetic reasons, but I would recommend. I'm personally going for a double usage with the armor, which is HEMA and just random medieval events. But now that I think of it and see the image before me, it would not have changed the look in a significant way. Even with the straps that would be here instead of the zipper that this armor probably uses. And it's just that little bit of added reassurance that the blade won't deflect and skewer you in the chin. So once again I recommend this. Women's waist, let's skip that. Attaching of the sleeves. The most protective option will obviously be the standard option. Although what is the with gusset one? That's new. Let's look it up. Oh, I see. Is it this part, the extra fabric? Probably not referencing Jerome Gusset or... Oh, hello. Anyway, yeah, I see what they mean. Either that or the standard option would offer the most protection then. Anything else will have flaws in the sense of stopping a blade. holes under the armpits might breathe easier, but raising your arms will leave a lot exposed. Even if the stab is on accident, it's what happened to me with the laced sleeves with hand-sewn holes option. Hey, there's my armor again. So even if the laces are tied really tight, a blade will still pierce through more easily than any other option. This is mitigated a bit by the metal plates that I will show at the end, but that's not part of this. The review is for this item alone, which I often use as is. Once again, the idea is to use it in both scenarios, so my reasoning was, at medieval events I'll just remove the arms if the weather is hot, and voila, instant cooling system. Which works okay, you'll still be sweating, but it definitely helps. A bit of a hassle to put them back on, but after a few times I've gotten the gist of it. Or my squire has, I should say. The overlapping sleeve option is €5 more, though is it not just the same principle but attached differently? Sure, it would make my sleeves a bit shorter, but I wonder. These holes are paired by 2, so I can kind of guess how the lace passes through inside the sleeve, which is probably about 5 centimeters longer then. Anyway, doing it like this would certainly add a bit of protection, but once again, I went for looks. More expensive isn't always better, but in hindsight, I would have told myself to cough up an extra €5, I think. Fastenings. The laces with leather cord through steel looks interesting. Imagine having to undo all of them quickly. Or just undoing them to have a quick rest, then having to redo them to continue fighting. Surprisingly, the option I picked doesn't cost extra, the leather straps. The laces option looks good in my opinion, but the straps can be done and undone easily even with light gloves. Obviously the most official or regulatory jackets will have the zipper. The most common one I see is the zipper hidden behind Velcro. The buttons look good as well, since they're so close together there's less room for a blade to pass through. But with my sleeves and missing blade catcher, it doesn't pass an official tournament gear check anyway, so that doesn't matter to me. The straps look great. With antique plated buckles, especially over time, I think they will look the best. But it's nice that there's so much choice. It really feels like you could customize down to the thread if you wanted. Color of the fastenings, brown like the rest. Fastenings for steel arms. Now, I've selected the 6-piece option, which is spoilers out of frame, but they're located right here. Arms, which is this thing, and 2 stoppers on the wrists. The next option would be 14 pieces, so 7 here, spoilers here, different piece for the arms. I'm guessing elbow and these 2, I'm not sure, but in hindsight again, I should have asked for 8 pieces instead of 6. It's missing the elbow, which I'll eventually have to buy and install one separately. I'm sure that if I asked during the email exchange they would have obliged. Even €5 more would have been worth it to me. But since you could also buy 14 pieces separately for €14, I suppose it wouldn't cost that much more. For now, the elbow pads that I use can be tightened enough so that they don't move too much. But yeah, not something I even considered at the time of purchase. Personal emblem. This is new without a doubt, as I remember the only option being no emblem or one emblem for €25. Those customer service ladies, the 2 I've gotten over the time at least, are both very helpful and kind, asked me how I wanted the emblem. Unsure, I asked how big they could make it, and there wasn't really a limit. Excellent deal looking back, considering they're around 30 centimeters, and there's 2 of them, so if you wanted the same layout now, that would be an additional €100, which I would not have done. That being said, if I had to redo it today, I would take the singular small emblem, which can be placed anywhere, on the arm perhaps. Then in print stamping, take in the custom made pattern option and apply that to the black parts for the same kind of vibe. Again, the emblem and pattern can be anything you sent them. The length can be increased as well. Going too long will likely up the cost. Mine are knee length, which is an excellent compromise. Delivery time, this is new as well. I'd be apprehensive about paying extra for that, because first of all, it's not really something that they can control. Do they mean it gets posted by them in either 14 or 28 days? Because that's the difference you're paying for, supposedly. 50 euros for 2 weeks less wait time. Is that worth it? That is, supposing this is accurate, because I've ordered from them a lot, including orders not on this account since they changed their payment method. As a side note, still Mastery, please bring back Bankcontact. Not everyone has or wants PayPal. Anyway, I've never had to wait less than 6 months. Prepare to wait a long time. Speaking of waiting, you can pay an extra 50 euros to reduce it. Also pretty wild. I wonder if a lot of people use it. And does it even work? Is that why my own manufacturing time is always so long? Because everyone else pays to skip the queue? Unlikely, since this is a new feature, and I'm using air quotes here. And even when it didn't exist, nothing has ever taken 4 months or less. This very jacket was closer to a year, manufacturing alone. Took more than that to arrive, which I understood there was a war going on, and still is, which they will tell you by email once you've placed an order. Understandable, but this should also be reflected on the website, I think. The number 4 is misleading here, and will leave a lot of people disappointed. For further reference, here's an email chain I still have, because the order hasn't arrived yet. This is for something else. Around 20/05/2024, I ordered a custom tabard and shield. It is now 04/05/2025, and the shield is still considered as manufacturing. Every few months I do get an update from them, as the items advance a stage, so that's nice. But yeah, seeing the number 4 here doesn't sit right with me. After that, there will still be the wait for shipping, which I wonder how paying extra for fast shipping would affect anything meaningful, since I've had packages just sitting at customs for months. That's out of Steel Mastery's hands, so what is this for? Will they use the 50 euro bill to bribe the agent, or who knows? Once it's finally in your country, remember that the government are thieves, so depending on how much the package costs, you'll pay a hefty tax on that as well, which can add up. Then it's in the hands of your delivery service. In my case, that's Belgian Post, which is often a competent and painless experience. It doesn't add much time to the total waiting process. But yeah, sorry for the long tangent, but I think it's an important part of the process and can put a lot of people off. For the last back protection option, I took nothing. It's heavy enough as is already. So the total comes around 465 euros. Keep at least half of that in your back pocket for any additional cost. Overall, I'm happy with it. And if you don't mind waiting, then I would absolutely say it's worth it. Ah yes, and as a bonus, here are the previously mentioned fastenings and stoppers in action. These items are all available on the website as well. These are the cold rolled steel elbow caps and shoulder plates, both with a thickness of 2 mm. They are easily attached and don't really restrict at all. The elbows don't budge too much, though I'd obviously prefer to attach them. Pretty sure the bracers are these ones, the Brigandine bracers. They're the reason for these stoppers on the bigger gambeson. Because previously, no matter how tight I got them, they would fly off at the first big swing, completely preventing your wrist from rotating. I don't wear these often though because the HEMA lobster gloves end pretty high, but if nothing else they do look good. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. If there's any other requests, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments. And I suppose stay tuned for the tabard and shield review when those finally arrive, if ever. Take care.